Not Clipper, hi friends, Darth Momo back for one more X-Men video. I'd like to rank all the Fox X-Men movies. Deadpool 3 is not on here because, well, I haven't seen it and frankly it's an MCU movie, not a Fox X-Men movie. Okay, so real quick, originally I recorded this video before I saw Deadpool 3. I didn't plan on seeing it opening weekend initially, but I did end up doing that. So I'll give it a ranking at the very end since, yes, technically it is an MCU movie, but it's also kind of a send-off to the Fox X-Men verse too. So I'll show you where I fit it in at the end. We're going to talk about the 13 Fox X-Men movies. Worst to best, in my opinion. Let's go. Number 13 is X-Men Origins Wolverine. Look, it's not without redeeming qualities. Ryan Reynolds is great as Deadpool, but this film put me to sleep upon first watching and none of the others did. It was, to be quite frank, boring. Number 12 is Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix is about just as awful as Origins, to be sure, with me only liking two parts. Magneto defending the US military, which was a cool inversion on his character normally, and the ending scene with Charles and Magneto playing chess. Otherwise, the film is bad, but it didn't put me to sleep, so it goes above Origins for me. Number 11 is The New Mutants. I didn't think this one was straight up bad, but it was a little boring. None of the new characters interested me, and that made it a little hard to get into. Number 10 is Deadpool 2. Look, I like Deadpool, but the second film is not as good as the first. The jokes aren't as good, and they overstay their welcome. The plot wasn't as good either. The only thing I truly liked was the cameo scene with the other X-Men and the end time travel scene. I also don't like how it spoils Logan either. It makes a chronological watch of the X-Men a little difficult. Number 9 is The Wolverine. I like Wolverine and the plot was okay, but the solo outing for the character was a little harder for me to get into. But I do have to say, the end credits scene is probably my favorite end credits scene in a Marvel movie. Number 8 is Apocalypse. I know a lot of people don't like this one, and that's okay, but I didn't think it was that bad. Sure, there were some parts where I thought, this is dumb, but there were some parts I thought, okay, this is kind of cool. Overall, it wasn't bad in my opinion, just a mixed bag. Number 7 is Deadpool. I liked it, and Ryan Reynolds has a solid performance, but some of the jokes and swearing did feel a little excessive. Number 6 is X3. This might be controversial, and I do think the film is a mixed bag, but there was enough good in there for me to like, between the concept of the Cure, Kelsey Grammer as Beast, Magneto and Logan and the rest of the characters. Overall, a mixed bag for sure, but enough to beat out Deadpool, in my opinion. I just had more fun with it. Truth be told, after first watching X-Men, this is one of only 2 films in the series I actually had a desire to go back and maybe rewatch. I didn't, but I had the desire. Number 5 is X-Men. A simpler film for a simpler time. Truthfully, this was just a simple comic book movie. That's not a bad thing. Sure, after almost 20 years of the MCU, a simple comic book movie is nothing extraordinary, but for the year 2000, you gotta give it credit. And the cast, especially Stewart and McKellen, are phenomenal. It was certainly enjoyable, just not as good as the remaining 4. Number 4 is Logan. Some may be shocked this isn't at the top of my list. I certainly have issues with this film, such as how it treats Charles and how it works with Days of Future Past, which I already did a video on, so go ahead and check it out. But Logan still had some good to it. But the next 3 are easily better in my opinion by a landslide. Number 3 is X2. This one was certainly an improvement on the original. A darker story, a story that fleshes out the backstory of Wolverine, fun new characters like Nightcrawler, and several fun twists and turns in the plot that make it a phenomenal film, with several great moments. Number 2 is First Class. This was the first X-Men movie I watched, excluding Deadpool several years earlier, and it did not disappoint. The film has a great story, great pacing, great takes on the characters, and a phenomenal cast. For a franchise I was iffy about watching, all doubt ceased in my mind after watching this one, and I was hooked. But there is still one that is better. Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past is honestly so great it could have been the finale to the franchise. The writing was solid. The characters are fun, the stakes felt real. For a franchise with a lot of mixed bag entries, it worked as a perfect culmination of everything that had come before. And the combination of the old cast and the new cast both of which are fantastic, was a brilliant idea. This is the only X-Men movie I have rewatched since first watching the movies in 2021. There isn't a single part I don't like. In my opinion, the franchise should have ended here, and I think the series would have been better off if it had. So where would I put Deadpool and Wolverine on this list? I'd probably put it between Apocalypse and Deadpool 1. It was fun. It had some great humor. I loved the cameos and the love letter it wrote to the Fox films. But the story wasn't the greatest thing ever, and it wasn't a standout for me like X2 or Days of Future Past. If you want my full thoughts, you can go check out my Deadpool 3 review. So that's my ranking. Thank you guys for joining in. This will probably be the last X-Men video I do, at least for a while. But let me know if you liked me branching out into another franchise and if there's anything else you'd like to see from me in the comments. Thank you for joining in. Darth Momo, out. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, comment down below and hit that like button. Oh, and check out some of my other videos. I'm sure you'll find them in the light.